Alright, what's going on, everyone? So we decided to try a little bit of something different. We thought of doing a podcast. We saw a couple different people doing podcasts. I thought they were really interesting. We wanted to try it for ourselves. So I'm with Sam. This is my podcast. I'm not really sure what I'm going to name it yet. But yeah, this is pretty much where you can just be on the internet, on whatever Craigslist, looking at cars. You can be doing whatever you want. And you can just put this in the background and just listen. I'm not asking you to watch it. I'm not asking you to interact with it too much. But just enjoy it, listen. A lot of Q&A kind of stuff, but mostly we'll all be referring to car stuff. So we're pretty much today going to just kind of do an icebreaker, talk about us and I guess how we got into cars and stuff like that. Hopefully answer a lot of questions you guys might have about me, about Sam, about my truck, about his car, stuff like that. Just make it really simple. These are one takes. I'm not going to edit them, so if we mess up, you guys will really see how I don't actually know how to talk. I just spliced the clips 100 times so it looks like I know how to talk. But yeah, regardless, I guess we'll get right into it. So for those of you who don't know, I am Craig Lopresti. I'm TheCraig909. So a lot of you guys know me as TheCraig909. This is my truck behind me, and we're out here in Ocean Beach? Yeah, Ocean Beach, California. This is a nice jetty that we're on right now. Nice little subtle spot. Not too many people know about it. It's right by SeaWorld, California. We decided to choose this spot because I noticed, I can't remember your name, but a guy from Australia actually thought it would be really cool to see different spots of where we live. Because if you're in Australia, you wouldn't really know what San Diego looks like if you're not from California, if you're not from the United States, and more in particular, you wouldn't really know what San Diego looks like. So I thought we'd start off and we'd go around to different spots and kind of show off kind of what San Diego looks like, what we live at. So this is where we're at today. We'll probably change up the spots, different podcasts. We'll choose different spots, different places. This is where we're at today. This is sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. We were gonna do it yesterday, but it actually got dark. But I'm actually kind of stoked. It's super nice weather. It's like, what do you think, like 75 out, sunny?
Yeah, probably. Nice breeze.
Light breeze, yeah. It's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, let's get right into it. So introduce yourself.
My name is Sam. My YouTube channel is SawGarage. I have a 1978 Corvette Pace Car Edition that I'm doing a true resto mod build on it. So like most resto mods people think of is like C3 body on like a C7 chassis or something like that, but the way I'm doing the resto mod is it's more of a building the car with period correct parts that are better than factory.
Yeah, so, and then you guys all know the truck behind me. It's my 71 Ford F100. It's got a small block 302 in it with a 3-speed on the column. Everyone knows it. Everyone seems to like it. This is at its very, very bare bones. I haven't really done much to the truck over the course of the 3 years I've owned it, but I have an incredible amount of parts. Hopefully we can build this summer when I have more time on my hands. It's going to be really, really a fun build. And I also have my other truck currently is my 1973 Chevy C10 off-road truck. A lot of you guys don't like the 88 to 98 kit on it. I'm sorry, but for those of you who don't know, I did not put that on. That wasn't me. I bought the truck like that. I would never have put that truck on, or that clip on. I actually was looking into putting the old original clip on, but it would cost me like $1,000. So it's like, it's not worth $1,000 to me to put the old sheet metal back on, because honestly, once I put the Chevy grill on and polished it and painted the whole thing, it honestly doesn't look too bad to me. And I mean, it works with the body lines. I don't mind it. I think it looks all right. But yeah, so I guess today's topic, we're pretty much going to introduce us, how we got into cars, and the cars behind us, or the car behind me, the truck behind me, his car, and just in the nice area that we're at right now. So I got into cars back. My parents aren't into cars. So let me just reiterate that. My mom does her thing. She's a mom. She does her thing. My dad, he works in telecommunications. He designs parts that goes in cell towers. Yeah, I guess telecommunications, but he's not like your
Not a
telemarketer.
Telemarketer.
Yeah, he's an engineer that designs, and he's a director of a company that builds all your parts that go in your cell tower so your cell phone works. He's not a car guy. He never has been. My car influence comes from my mom's brother, who actually started a car show known as Cruising Grand California. That is in Escondido, California. It runs from April to October, I believe. April to October, September, somewhere around there. And it's been going on for 19 years. I've been going to it ever since I was literally born. And I guess that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from, because my uncle and his son, who's my cousin Michael, who a lot of you guys know is that is Michael. About horsepower. A lot of you guys know his channel. He has his diesel. He also has a 69 fastback. That's kind of where we come together. That's where we have always like done car stuff together. And I guess it kind of worked with that car show because we were always at the car show. So I guess we wouldn't have really had much car experience if we weren't at the car shows all the time. I mean, it was literally every single Friday during the summer car show season. Every single Friday we would go down there and we would just hang out, check out different cars. Family would bring some cars. My parents never owned any cool cars like that, ever. But it was a really fun time, so I guess that's kind of where I got mine. I don't know, how did you get into cars?
Well, like, I think it was probably when I was like maybe 8 or 9. I was one of those fanboys who was into like Ferraris and, you know, all those sports cars or supercars and stuff like that. I started building like models, like model cars. My dad, he's always been a car guy, so I had a direct influence to, you know, to get into the car world. He's had the Corvette since like the 90s, I think, early 90s, late 80s sometime. So I kind of started off, I was like in sports cars like most people do. And I think, I watched a video, I forget who made the video, but somebody was saying like the different stages you go in as like a car guy. And a lot of people get stuck in the fanboy stage until they like turn 16, when they start, you know, they get their own car and they start driving, then they kind of get out of that and kind of realize that's not all about, you know, $2 million cars and stuff. So it's like, I got out of that stage pretty fast because that was kind of my introduction. I was in that stage for maybe like 2 years, and then I started working on the Corvette with my dad, and I started to, you know, kind of develop my own opinions on cars rather than what you see on TV. And like, I think my dream car at the time was an Enzo Ferrari, which to this day,
unobtainable.
Yeah, I think they made like 500 of them or something.
Yeah,
and
less than that, but yeah, they're really hard to come by. They're
and
expensive.
Yeah, to this day, I do not know any specs about it. I don't know horsepower, any of that stuff.
I think it's a V12. That's about all I know.
I don't even know that.
It might be a V10 actually. I don't know.
I don't know any of it. I just liked it because
guy.
it was cool looking and expensive. That's why I was into it. So it wasn't a real, true love, you know. So yeah, and then I started working on the Corvette with my dad, and then, you know, it kind of sprouted into a, like, I like these kind of cars instead. I'm more of into like I like 70s sports cars and muscle cars, and I know a lot of you probably aren't going to like this, but I also like 70s Japanese cars. My number one dream car is a Datsun 240Z, which
I have a 280. You guys don't know about it yet, but I actually have a 280ZX. It's a 2+2 though, so it's not a fastback, but anyways.
Yeah, so that's my dream car. But yeah, a lot of people think that I'm like a hardcore American car guy, but
yeah, he's got a Corvette.
Not so much. I mean, yeah, you can't get much more American than a Corvette.
He's got a Corvette. He's got a pace car edition Corvette too. I mean,
yeah.
You can't get any more cool than that, in my opinion, personally. But yeah, I mean, I was always back. I did a lot of, I guess you could say action sports, bikes, skateboards, scooters, anything with wheels. I did. I guess back in elementary school, middle school, I was a big BMX and scooter rider. Yeah, scooters are gay, but middle schoolers and elementary schoolers, that's what you do. If you want to impress the ladies, you ride a scooter. So that's what I did when I was little. And I was really good at it too. But I used to ride dirt jumps. I used to do everything with bikes. And I remember my mom would always tell me, she's like, when you get your license, you get a vehicle, you're going to dump that. And I was like, no way. I'm going to take my scooter and bike to the skate park every single day. I'm never going to quit. I haven't touched my bike since I've owned this truck. Probably rode like 3 or 4 times with my bike because I put the bike in the bed. But this thing takes up so much of my time. I don't touch my bike anymore. The scooter just is gone. I don't do that. That's dumb to me. I don't know why I ever did it, but I don't touch that anymore. I ride a skateboard around campus every once in a while, so does he. But the influence I guess bikes had, I still wanted to ride, but I just don't. I don't have it in me. I don't have the time. Yeah, I don't have it in me. Plus, I don't want to hurt myself. I used to eat it a lot. I got a few concussions from riding dirt trails. I'd skinned my knees, smashed my shins, everything you could think of. Because I would always try to do like 360s from dirt to dirt lips, and I would just die. It was really bad. But besides the point, going back to the cars, I pretty much progressed. I dropped it the second this truck kind of came to me because I had multiple bike parts. I was always getting ready to like upgrade my bike and whatnot. But then the truck came in and the truck never ran. This truck and a lot of you guys think it's the most consistent, like nice thing in the world, and it is now. 2 years ago, the truck had a 2-barrel on it. The carb was rebuilt twice, one with the wrong rebuild kit. It ran terribly. The float was installed upside down once. I didn't do this, and it actually was flooding. It had vacuum leaks. It had fuel problems. I had the original gas tank in this truck had rust in it, and the rust actually got into the fuel system, into my carburetor, destroyed my fuel system. I had to redo the whole fuel system. That's all stuff that you guys didn't see because that was done before I started the YouTube channel. I don't know if your Corvette has stuff like that you've gotten into that just people haven't seen, or just big problems like that.
Yeah, I had some big problems with my fuel system as well. Not the carburetor, but like more down the line. I had the way that the Corvette's set up is it's a mid-engine car, even though some people don't think, like Craig.
The motor's in the front.
It's in the front, but it's behind the front axle, so it's technically a mid-engine. So the way that the motor mounts like go in is the fuel pump is in front of the motor mount area, and the bolts, somebody stuck the bolt in this way because if you want to put the bolt in the right way, you have to put the fuel pump on after the engine's in. So they stuck it in this way, and it was too long, and when the engine would run and vibrate, the bolt would smack the fuel pump housing, and it ended up cracking. So I had a big leak with that. I had to do that. That was before YouTube too, and I had my dad and I had done like seats. We did some of like the electrical stuff, like the lights weren't working. We had a bad switch, and windshield wipers. And there's too much stuff to name, the amount of stuff we did. I also did detailing before I started my channel, which that was a really, really big project. It took me like over 100 hours.
I'm pretty good at detailing too, as you can probably imagine. I'm actually way better than Sam, as you can tell. This thing is spick and span clean.
Yeah. That was before the channel as well. When I get my daily car, I'll probably start making some more detailing videos. But I've been having some pretty good luck with how those ones go.
Hey, Sean's calling me. Let's see if he's here. Hey, are you at work?
No, but I'm about to be.
Oh, hey, well, we're down at that jetty. You should come say hi.
I figured you were. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, come say.
I'll be down there in like 5 minutes probably.
Sweet. See ya.
Alright, later.
You're going to see Sean in a second. That actually kind of leads into my next point. Sean and me actually, so you guys know Sean, he's always on the channel. He's actually been my best friend since kindergarten. We were 5 years old. We were in the same kindergarten class. Went all the way to the same elementary school, 6th grade. Graduated in 6th grade. Went to middle school, same middle school. Graduated the same high school. We graduated together. We've been neighbors. He lives like 2 blocks from me. We've been doing anything and everything that we've done: bikes, scooters, skateboards, cars, RC cars, any hobby that we've done together. We've kind of always been doing stuff together. And yeah, he's my best friend. He always helps me with my truck. I help him with his truck. He has a 1940 Ford. He'll probably introduce you to it a little bit when he comes over. He'll be here in a little bit. But with this truck, yeah, a lot of the things that I want to kind of mention with this truck that you guys haven't seen is, I've had way too many issues. A lot of you guys think I'm very knowledgeable, which I guess I am, because I've gone through this truck so many times. I've gone through so many of them. But like, I started from ground zero, where a lot of you younger guys are. A lot of you 14, 15, 16-year-olds that have these trucks that haven't really torn into them yet. I was at that spot. I just went out and did it. The whole interior of this truck was gutted. I took the seat out, floor out. There was no headliner. There was one door panel. It was like some weird vinyl door panel. It was trash. I took that out. I actually had a radio in my truck. I had some 80s GM AM FM radio that actually kind of worked. I had a door speaker on my driver's side and passenger side. The passenger side was the only speaker that worked. But I'd have to, every once in a while when I'd slam my door, it would jiggle the speaker in the right spot and my speaker would actually start working. It was really weird. And so I guess like
one of the things that are like that too.
Yeah.
Close the door and it starts working. You're like,
yeah, I guess it's just an old car thing. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to what I'm saying. But I had the stock gauges, I had the stock steering wheel, I had that green seat. My truck is a sports custom package, which someone thought Wimbledon white. It's a factory Wimbledon white truck. Someone thought Wimbledon white and that, I guess Highland green is the dark green that Ford did for these, but I don't know. I guess it's Highland green would be the interior color. But my dash was Highland green. The seat was that color. The door panels were that color. And what else? I'm not really sure what else. But my truck, yeah, seatbelts. I actually still have the seatbelts. That's the only part of the interior that's actually still original to my truck is the steering column and the seatbelts. Yeah, seatbelts. I still have those nasty green seatbelts that you can probably see. But I've changed the seat. The seat came $20 from an LKQ Pick Your Part. A lot of you guys ask me, where do I get parts for my truck? Where are the junkyards? If you go online and type in lkqpickyourpart.com, you will find a location if you're in the U.S. I'm not sure outside the U.S., but in the U.S., pick your state, your county, and there's usually a location within a certain range from you. There's 3 in San Diego. They're all like an hour drive from me. They're on literally opposite sides of San Diego, and I'm in like the center. So it's kind of a pain there, but that's actually where I got the seat. The seat came out of a dent side. A lot of you guys didn't realize that. This is a dent side seat. This is from 1975 Ford F-250. That's why it had those little locking latches on the back of it so you can't lean it forward. I actually took those off in like a couple videos ago. But that seat was like $25 at a Pick Your Part. And then the dash I got from a guy that parts Ford truck stuff out in San Diego. His name's John. He's always on Craigslist, sells stuff. Got that. That's an original dash. It has one crack in it. Black dash. I got it for like $180. I got ripped off, but I wanted it. What's the thing?
I think it only films to a certain extent.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's filming now, I think. Okay, start over.
Alright, well,
we'll have to edit it a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. So the wheel is, I lost my train of thought. Alright, so his camera's not filming, sorry for a second. So the wheel that I have is it's a Grant steering wheel. It's just a 15-inch. I think it's a three-hole wheel. LMC sells it. I bought the center cap for it, the Ford center cap. I've got the 15-inch wheel, and then there's an adapter, a billet adapter that adapts it to the Ford steering column or whatever. That I got, and the gauges. A lot of you guys ask about my gauges too. The gauges are actually a set of, it's like a complete $800 set of autometer gauges. I don't know where the gauge cluster came from. It must be custom made or made out of mold. I don't know. I've never seen one before, but I actually got that out of my '69 F-250 pre-runner I had. I bought it from a buddy of mine. He totaled the truck. He kick-flipped it, smashed the roof. I bought it for $400. He pulled the 390 and C6 out of it. I got the shell. I parted that truck out, and I kept the gauges and put them in this truck. But that's where those came from. And I mean, I literally bought the truck for the gauges. I paid $400 for the truck, and I just wanted the gauges. And then I found out it had all AutoFab fiberglass front end. It had fiberglass or AutoFab beams. It had all this other cool stuff. But I don't know. Have you been like? Your dad has had different projects on, not just the Corvette.
Oh yeah, he had a '69 GTO before the Corvette, which had a 400 in it, 400 4-speed with a Muncie rock crusher, and it was built. And he said he did the build by himself. This was like his first like engine build kind of thing. And he said he had it probably at 11-to-1 compression, and he ended up. He says he thinks it was a thrown rod. He wasn't sure, but pretty much destroyed the engine. And he had to park in front of a girlfriend's house where it got impounded, and he didn't have the money to get it out, so he had to let it go. But this was in like the 80s, so there's a good chance that somebody grabbed it before it got crushed. So I don't know what they do in impound lots. But.
Yeah, that's another thing that's bad about that LKQ lot is. People tell me to buy the trucks that I see in there, and I mean you can, but the second a vehicle typically goes into an impound lot, not an impound lot, a junkyard, the title is immediately salvaged, so it's a salvage title. It's never going to be a clean title again unless you have some sort of link with DMV, you can get a rebuild title, something like that. But those trucks are all salvage titles, so what I take into account when I buy a truck is long beds are the long bed F-250s and F-100s are pretty much the least valuable, unless there's a specific package that they are. Maybe high boys are definitely a lot more. 2-wheel drive, long beds, 360s, most common truck you can buy. Those trucks I see down there a lot, and people tell me to buy them, and I mean it could be good to part out, but those trucks only sell in California for between $1,000 and $3,000 in better condition. I sold my dent side, the green dent side you guys saw. I don't think I ever told you guys. I sold that truck for $4,000. It had a really nice respray on it. There was absolutely no rust in the entire truck. It was straight as an arrow. That truck had a little bit better things going for it. It also had a 428 FE that I was told. I never ran block numbers, but that's what I was told. Kind of looked like it, but you can't really tell an FE without running the numbers. They all look the same and stuff like that. But the trucks in the junkyard just kind of sit there. People salvage parts off them. They're stripped like the day I get in there. Like I was blown away when I found grills. I went in there one time, but you're never gonna find like a Corvette in there, or
No.
anything valuable is gone the second they're in there.
Yeah, and it's like there's really no point in buying it because you could go in there and if you look at it and it looks all good, somebody probably came in there and took something that you're not gonna see. And then if you're trying to build it, there's just gonna be something missing, and it's like, I don't know. It seems like it'd be, and you don't have any history because there's nobody to talk to about what's up with it. Because clearly they just abandoned it.
Yeah, I know LKQ, actually, the reason a lot of those vehicles are in there is LKQ does a service to where if you have a complete vehicle, they will offer you $1,000 for it, and it's done deal. They give you $1,000 cash. They get their scrap money, they get their parts money, they're happy, you're happy. So that's why a lot of these nicer old vehicles get in there, because they sit forever. They sit on people's properties for years and years and years, and no one uses them. And so people decide that, hey, I want my $1,000, so I'm going to give it to this junkyard, and then I don't even care what happens to it. Every vehicle that goes in an LKQ eventually will get crushed. Whether everything down to the frame is parted out, might not get crushed, but if you're left with like a cab or a shell or even a motor in it and it's not being parted out after a certain number of days, it gets smashed. So that's what sucks. And I've seen a lot of good parts actually get smashed, and it sucks. Like, we've gone in there, we've seen like 2 bump sides and a dent side, and then we go in there like on our next trip a couple weeks later and it'd be gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad because like it's in the spot when you get there, then you come back and there's just something else there. It's like a
it's like
minivan
a
or
90s
something.
van, yeah.
They had some nice cars there though. It's like
Seen a Ram Charger, there
that
was a
was
Corvette.
really nice.
There was a really nice Ram Charger actually. It was totally complete.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Seth. He broke his wing window, and I was like, dude, you should have told me. But he broke it after we went. But that would have been nice, because like, how often do you see a complete Ram Charger? I don't know what year it was. I'm not a Mopar guy, but it was nice. And then there was a Corvair. There's plenty of, I see dent sides and bump sides on occasion. What else is there?
There was that one. It was a '64 Ford, and it was really straight. Remember that? It was like primered. Like, I feel like a lot of these cars that go in there, it's like somebody in the family died, and they just don't know what to do with it, and it looks like a piece of junk to them, so they just kind of like get rid of it.
There was an old Studebaker in there. I remember that. Right when he walked into the left.
Oh yeah, I don't think that was.
No, it's a
Harding,
Studebaker.
though.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
think that was the owners.
They saw a Studebaker and
That
they
was nice.
they pulled that out real quick. That's the only one I've seen that will not get crushed, because I mean it's a Studebaker. It's a 2-door Studebaker. It's like the one everyone makes gassers out of.
And it had the emblem on the front too, so you know it wasn't a parts car.
Yeah, no, I
Because
had
that would have been gone fast. I would have taken it, and I
yeah.
don't even need one.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, what else about? I guess about this truck. Yeah, I'm kind of pissed. This thing's just like there's a bunch of water spots all over. It's really dirty. I feel like parts run down. I guess. Yeah, motor's just a mildly built small block. I wouldn't even say built. It's just pop up bolt-on parts. Edelbrock 600 carburetor. I don't even know. I took the car. There is no carb spacer. Offenhauser 360 intake manifold. It's a really rare one. It's an original one. It's not a repop. Or it's not a newer one. It's from the 70s, I think. Super old. I made a video, and when I put that on, it was regular cast. I bought it from a guy, and I wire wheeled the thing and I clear cutted it, put it on. It was my first intake manifold I've ever done. I didn't know what I was doing. I even stated in the video, I was like, I do not know what I'm doing. I'm not a mechanic. Just let me live and put this on. I just wanted to document this, and I did, and it actually worked. I'm blown away. I put this thing on at like 16 or 17 years old. I never did it by myself, and it actually never leaked. Still haven't taken it off. It doesn't leak. So I was kind of surprised I didn't get any leaks the first time. I had no issues. I left the distributor in it. I pulled it up. The cast one weighs a ton, so I pulled it up. I popped it up. I lifted it up to the firewall and up and over the distributor. It was such a pain in the butt. So the Ford's the small blocks, the distributor's in the front. He has it kind of easy in that sense because the distributor's in the back, but
It's hard when you pull the engine.
yeah, but also for timing purposes, that sucks.
Yeah,
Huh?
but well, for a truck it would be. But for my car, since it's so low, it's easy to reach it.
Yeah, that's true. But
So
yeah, I don't know why you would put a distributor in the back personally. I just think that doesn't.
it's out of the way, I guess. I mean, to me, they're kind of ugly, especially the HEIs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of HEI
So if that
at
was
all.
up front, it'd be a big eyesore.
My C10 has an HEI. I don't like them. They're hard. I don't know how they work really, so I don't really know how to adjust them. I mean, regular point distributors I can adjust all day long. I know how to work on them. I know how to time them. I know everything about them. Like this truck has a Protronics igniter system in it with an igniter 3 coil. It's one of this is like their top of the line system, but everyone calls Protronics a knockoff MSD. I get that. I mean, it was like $330, whereas an MSD is almost $800. So I mean, you get what you pay for, yeah. But I mean, I bolted on a rev limiter. This thing is a rev limiter now. So I mean, I can just stand on it at 5,500 RPMs, and it screams. I haven't had any issues with it. I'm not pushing 700 horsepower on a big block. I don't need to worry about stuff like that. It's not a race car either, so.
I'm actually surprised at how reliable your truck is. It's like,
Yeah. It's taken me like, so for those of you that have a truck like this, you're always concerned like, my truck doesn't run as well as Craig's. Why doesn't it? I do everything that he does, stuff like that. It was never like that. It was like, I've been broken down more times than I'd like to admit. Probably on the low end of 20 times in 3 years that I've owned this one vehicle. I mean, the C10s, these C10s give me so many issues, but a lot of you guys have pointed out it's not the Chevy's fault, it's other problems. Yeah, I mean, the 350 in it is bulletproof. It runs awesome. The fuel system behind it is garbage. I have had so many issues with that fuel system. I mean, I was probably 2 or 3 miles from my house, and one of my buddies in the last video, you guys, if you watched the one where I got stranded in the C10, I was getting towed by a tow strap all the way like 3 miles to my house. I mean, everyone's staring at me, looking at me. I mean, it was almost embarrassing, but I didn't really care. So I was just like, I'm in a kind of a weird vehicle anyways. I'm like, what do you expect? And I was like, I'm in the Chevy. I'm not in the Ford. I can't be embarrassed. It's like if the Ford's broken down, then I'm embarrassed. But I didn't build that truck. I just kind of took it, refurbished it, made it nice again. And yeah, we're on the home stretch of that one. That one's done. I finished that truck. That truck's as much as I'm gonna do to it. It's solid. I like it. I'll leave it how it is. But yeah, pretty nice view.
I watched the video when the fuel system broke on your truck.
Yeah.
You were like kind of bashing on the Chevy part of it, and you were like, "Oh, look at this Ford towing a Chevy," and doing that stuff. And I was like, you can't really bash on the fact that it's a Chevy because it wasn't the Chevy's problem. It was whoever built the fuel system did it shitty.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't the fuel system was bad. The truck was built in like 2001, so it just is old. It sat outside. The fuel inlet that comes right out of the tank. It's a A&N fitting, so it's a press fit, and it popped up, and it just wasn't sealing anymore, so it wasn't pulling any vacuum. It was just sucking air in, so I didn't get any fuel to the tank. Nothing I could really do. I found another line. I got a line locally and put it back on. The runs are great. I haven't had any issues with it since, which is great because I did not want to spend $200 on a Holley fuel pump because I would have been pissed if the fuel pump went bad. Because those of you that get aftermarket, not like Napa ones, but actual Holley fuel pumps, those suckers are expensive. Whether they're Holleys or not, actually, like aftermarket racing fuel pumps are stupid expensive. Electronic ones, like the ones that sit inside the tank, those suckers can be $700-800 for a racing one. They're crazy. They're pretty loud. The C10 one is loud, but you can't hear it just because the truck's really loud, which is nice. But yeah, it's gonna hold over there.
I have one in my car. I would definitely hear it because my car flipped over.
Yeah.
But
Let's talk about future plans for your car.
Okay. So I made a video like when I first kind of started my channel about what I was kind of planning on doing with the Corvette, but plans have kind of changed since then. I kind of always come up with new ideas, thinking things will be better and stuff. So basically, all I have left on the car, like big things, are the rear end, and I have 2 motors. I have a crate motor, which is a GM Goodwrench 350, which is kind of just your basic little crate motor that you put stuff. It's got 200 horsepower, 300 torque. It's not that powerful. And then I have the original motor with the blown head gasket and a worn cam. So that I'm going to build that motor. I'm going to put a cam in it.
They're both 350s, right?
Yeah, they're both 350s. So I'm going to put a cam in the original one. I'm going to get some trick flow or AFR heads. I haven't quite made a decision yet. 195cc chamber or intake runner, and then I'm going to. I was going to stroke it, and I said that in my old video, but I decided not to do that because it does have to pass smog. We do live in California.
Yeah.
So I don't think because like you could get away with doing internal stuff because they can't see that when you're doing the invisible the visual inspection. So you could get away with that, but then at that point you're running higher compression and longer stroke, and I feel like at that point you're having
a way bigger carbon.
Yeah, you got to put more fuel in, and that could affect your emissions too.
Your emissions
are
gonna get wrecked.
I figured I might as well not do that. I could probably get enough power for that car out of just building it with good bolt-on parts. So all the parts I'm putting on it are carbon-proofed, and except the intake manifold, which I still need to figure out what I need to do with that to get to pass visual.
Play it again.
It's because they come into land right here, because they go out like this,
Yeah,
and they loop
flip
around.
yeah.
That's just the ocean.
Well, I guess we could talk about future plans for this, what I really, really wanted to do. I'm sad to say it, but there's a lot of stuff that should have been done to this truck, but it's my daily driver. I can't take it apart. I was gonna put the high rise on actually like 2 weeks ago, and I was gonna go buy a double pumper car. I was gonna put all this stuff on. I thought about it. I was like, it's Thursday. I have to go back to be at school on Monday. I have to work Saturday. I'm doing stuff Sunday. I was actually doing something Friday that day, so I was like, really, I have like 1 day to get this thing on. If it's not working, I'm screwed. So I was like, I'm gonna hold back. So I didn't put that intake on, and I didn't get the carburetor. I didn't do any of that stuff. It kind of sucks. But what the hell, dude?
Wasn't that on track day?
No, it was before drag day. Yeah, before my birthday.
Do it so
Yeah, I was gonna put the high rise on before the drag day, so it is. So I had a little bit more room for my truck. I mean, you guys, if you watch the drag day video, Franklin in his 460 Dana 60 rear end big block C6 truck with 35s beat me in a drag race.
Dude, he did good.
He did really good, but I mean, it is a 460. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It has like 370 horsepower, I think, something like that. My truck has like.
This truck's probably pretty light. I mean, I know it's caged and stuff, but a lot of stuff's been pulled out of it.
Yeah, my truck's also got like 180 horsepower, if that. It's not pushing a lot. It's just loud because I have,
Pretty much straight pipe.
Yeah, so my exhaust, I get asked this probably more than anything. My exhaust is Flowtech long tube headers. They are on Summit. They have to be for an F100. They will not fit in this truck. It's a really tight fit. 302 small block, long tube Flowtech headers. They go straight back. They have a 3-inch collector. I downsized it to a 2.5. You don't need a 3-inch with a small block unless you're pushing a ton of power, ton of compression. It's not really worth it. You're getting no back pressure. I like the sound of 2.5 better on small blocks. It's a little bit more high pitched, sounds a lot more like a hot rod. It doesn't sound like this lumpy, like low big block, I guess. So behind the collector.
It doesn't die. I think after like maybe 15 minutes it stops filming.
Really?
I think.
That sucks.
I could go back and look.
Yeah, we'll deal with that later.
Recording now? Yeah.
I can just use this camera's angle. So behind the behind the headers, 3-inch collector to a 2-inch tube. It goes all the way back to where about my butt is in the seat. There's a Flowmaster Super 10 exhaust that goes into pretty much right after it. It just shoots a 45-degree bend and it's stuck right out the side. So that's why it's so loud. Is it's literally got the muffler is this big, this long. That wide. It's got one chamber in it, so the air hits it, goes up and around, and then shot out the side. That is it.
Yeah, so it's not very much baffling as far as that goes.
There's one baffle in it. Remy always says it's not a real muffler. I mean, would you consider my muffler a real muffler? I think it's a real muffler.
That's funny.
No. Well, I know your truck's louder straight pipe.
Yo, my truck
But,
is really loud straight pipe.
I mean, I guess technically it's a muffler, but like, would you consider a glass pack a muffler?
No. That's what I
glass pack.
That's what I don't like. Glass packs. People use glass packs. I personally do not like glass packs. I put one on the FT50 because it was long and it was cheap. It was very cheap. I just slapped it on, sold it. I didn't really want to put. I mean, you get an expensive big exhaust. That sucker's going to be $80+ for something this big for a stock truck, a big block truck. Those things are really expensive, so I put a glass pack on it. But the bad thing about glass packs is they just have this little, I guess you wouldn't even call it baffling stuff inside it. It runs all the way through it. Yeah, it's just a fiber inside it. And there is no baffle. You can literally see through one completely. But they get so hot over time and they get corroded that they melt and they blow out the back. And then you literally just have a tube. And it doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing. It acts as barely acts as a resonator.
Well,
barely.
I like glass packs. I thought about putting one on the Corvette, but the reason I think glass packs work good is because, like, instead of running straight pipe, you know how when you run straight pipe you get like all these like crackles and all that noise? I feel like the glass pack, the fiberglass acts as a filter, so it kind of only lets out the noise. It doesn't let out all the crackling and
it kind of drones the noise a pretty good amount. But I remember on my green truck, it's still like I would decel down a hill and I'd get on it and I'd let off and it would still snap, crackle, and pop pretty loud.
Like, I've never heard of them blowing out before, but if they do, it's like $30. That's the thing.
Yeah,
they don't cost very much at all.
They're good if you're like, say you want to smog a vehicle real quick. So yeah, that's what I think we should probably get to do in a second is smog, because it's an important aspect for people that aren't from California. But I don't consider glass packs real mufflers. Personally, I don't. If
They're
they
not.
don't,
Well, they're glass packs.
plus Black Widow makes one that has baffles that it's a regular box-shaped exhaust, but the baffles kind of go like this, and air just goes straight down the center. I don't think that's a muffler either because I guess it's a muffler. It drones the sound, but unless it has a legit baffle that causes back pressure that the exhaust gases have to go backwards, I don't think it's a muffler.
Well, it would because
I consider
did you say it was
those-
just like 2 fins.
It's one single one, so it hits it and it has to go up and around it and then out. That's where you get your back pressure.
Yeah, but it's like it would be considered a muffler because
I consider
it's not a
ones,
straight shot.
ones that are straight shots that you can see through that just have whatever inside of them, those I consider resignators, not mufflers. I mean, they're technically called mufflers, but they act more as a resignator. They don't give you almost any back pressure, they just tone it down a little bit, which I guess is the job of a muffler, but it's more of a resignator if you think about it.
Like mine's to it because I have my manifolds that go into a Y that goes to a cat and then back out into 2, and I have it was a cat back system, which it's 2.5-inch stainless steel with the Flowmaster exhaust and the tips. So that was a good upgrade. I just need to do the front part of the exhaust now. But yeah, that thing drones. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me, but it drones more. Like hurts your ears after a while.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't really know. So, I guess it's Brad, I think about 37 minutes or so. It's pretty long. If you have made it this far, thank you. I don't expect anyone to make it this far. I also don't expect to get very many views. I don't really expect to get a very positive. I feel like a lot of people are going to dislike this, but it doesn't hurt to try. I wanted to try a podcast out. We did not have a specific topic to talk about today. Just kind of want to introduce ourselves, kind of with a little bit of a background, and just kind of talk. I didn't really. I'm at school a lot, as you guys know, so I don't really have a lot of stuff I can do. I mean, literally, I'm going to go back to school and go to a tutor for another test I got coming up. So I'm literally squeezing this in so I can get something for you guys that's somewhat entertaining. But yeah, I guess next time we'll have a legitimate topic. This was just kind of an icebreaker. I see a lot of guys doing podcasts. I wanted to try it. So let me know what you think down below of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. This is something you guys can just play in the background while you're surfing on the internet, trying to find a project, looking at other things or whatnot. It's just something to listen to, kind of have some thought about. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Craig, this is Sam, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.